All right, today our focus was on starting the vendor selection process. You need to be registered for Budget Challenge and go to Student Home Vendor Selections. Now, I've already done this for my tabs. When you first come into vendor selections on the Student Home Vendor Selections, you will find that all of your tabs are red. Okay. Where we started out today is we started out with the Job tab. And we learned that every 2 weeks or in bi-weekly installments, we're going to make $1,608, less some deductions. And we'll talk about those deductions in a moment. If we come down here, it shows us what our beginning balance is in our 401k. And you're probably wondering, what in the heck is a 401k? This is an employer-sponsored retirement plan. Our starting checking balance, which later on this week we're going to get into when we talk about our cash flow spreadsheet, is $1,700. There's that gross pay again before any deductions. And our first paycheck, and we talked about this last week, we won't see that until the 25th of September, first paycheck. Or if you're watching this in a later trimester, 7 days plus another day for the amount to actually clear, the second Friday after the simulation starts. Now down below here, it says 401k. This is an employer-sponsored retirement plan. And your employer is going to match 100% of the first 2% you put in. So if you put in 2%, they're going to put in 2%. If you put in 1%, they're going to put in 1%. If you put in 10%, they're going to put in 2% because they stop matching at 2%. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is click on this Enroll an Employer 401k plan and select the contribution percentage. Now I put in 10. You get more points for the amount of 401k that you put in. However, the higher the percentage you have for your retirement plan, the less is the amount of money you're going to have available to pay bills. So you kind of need to choose wisely. I've selected 10%. You can choose something else. Now down below here, you have the payroll calculator. Gross pay, $1,608. Federal withholding or income tax based on your filing status, single, married, dependents, spouse. Social Security, 6.2% of your paycheck. Medicare, 1.45% of your paycheck. State withholding, it would be if you live in a state that has state income tax, which Washington State is not, but in this case, this person's is. And then health insurance. Your employer will generally pay your premium or the payment you have for insurance. They will pay that to the health insurance carrier. However, they're deducting money out of your paycheck to kind of cover their costs, $50 every 2 weeks. And finally, your 401k contribution is going to be whatever your percentage was up here times your gross pay, leaves you with that amount for 401k. Now, if you take your gross pay and subtract all these items, federal, Social Security, Medicare, state, health insurance, 401k, subtract all those items, you end up with a net pay of, in my case, $1,115.79. Now, notice I didn't say anything about match. That's the amount your employer is putting into your retirement plan. I put in 10%. They put in 2% of $1,608, or a match of $3,216. Once I decide on my 401k percentage amount, you will see that back up at the top, your job tab is now green. Let's move over to the bank tab. You have 4 choices for the bank tab. Option 1, option 2, option 3, and option 4. I'm going to go through each one of these columns and explain each one of these. An option, non-sufficient funds fee. If you write a check and you don't have money in your checking account, they'll charge you $40. That's not a good thing. Okay. If you want some sort of insurance to make sure that doesn't happen, over here an overdraft service fee. In option 1, you're just going to have to pay the $40. There is no coverage for that. So if you choose option one, which is what I would call the budget option, make sure you never write a check without having the money first in your bank account. For $3.95, you can get that service. And down here, options 3 and options 4, they are free. That's kind of nice. Now, overdraft per use fee. This is what you get charged. Instead of getting charged $40, they charge you $10 every time you use it. For option 1, there is no service for option 1, so it's zero. You're not going to have a fee because you're going to end up paying $40. For options 2, 3, and 4, every time you write a check and the money isn't there, they will charge you $10. Now, what happens if I write a check and the money isn't there? Well, first off, they're going to put the money, if you're short, say $200 on your payment, you don't have the money there, they will put it there for you. The bank will. Oh, isn't that nice of them? They're putting money in your bank account. Yes. However, they're also adding money to your debt or your credit card bill. So your credit card bill can go skyrocketing if all of a sudden you start writing what are called bad checks, it's also called bouncing a check. It's never good. Okay. Per check fee, option 1 and 2, every time you write a check, it's 50 cents per check. Option 3 and 4, it's free. Option 3, option 4 is free. Just like over here, overdraft service fee was free. You're probably wondering, why are they giving me all this free stuff? Good question. You have to have a minimum balance to get that free stuff. In option 3, you have to carry at least $250 in your checking account at all times. You're tying up $250. With option 4, you have to tie up $400. You must have that amount in your account at all times. And if you don't, they're going to charge you $9.95. Now notice options 1 and 2 don't have a minimum balance fee because there is no minimum balance required, especially option 1, which is your budget plan. Negative balance fee is in case your balance ever goes negative because of a bank charge, which hardly ever happens. And finally, interest rate. See, there's 2% down there for option 4. Now, interest is usually working against you. It's that extra amount you pay. And I really like this definition. It's the fee you pay for using someone else's money. Well, if the bank's tying up your money in your checking account, which in this case is an interest-bearing checking account, shouldn't they pay interest to you? Yeah, 2% annual interest rate is what they will pay you every month for the balance that's in your checking account. So get some extra money that way, okay? So all 4 of these options have their pluses and minuses. Now you need to select which one you want to select. Say I want to do option 3. I'll go back up to the top, and my bank tab is now green. Moving along, let's go to the rent tab. In the rent tab, you can either get a 2-bedroom apartment with 1 roommate or a 3-bedroom apartment with 2 roommates. Now, on each one, you're going to get billed the first day you move in, which is this Thursday. That's when your simulation starts. And they're going to charge you a security deposit in case things are broken or damaged or cleaning or whatever. All right. Those are your 2 options. Now, what I would do is I would click on your first option and go, okay, option 1 is going to cost me $600 a month. My initial payment is going to be $680, which is what's a prorated or a partial month of rent, because again, you're moving in the middle of the month. And on top of that, you're going to be paying that $400 security deposit just the first time. If I click on option 2, I can see it's going to be $500 a month. My first payment is going to be $783.33. There's the $500 a month right there. Okay. So there you go. That's rent. Auto loan. We're buying a car for $19,900. We have 2 auto loan options. The first one is the credit union. Now, the credit union, they're going to charge you a $25 one-time membership fee. That's down here. So the first payment is going to be this $360 plus $25. Choose that option. The bank loan option, they're going to charge you $369.44. Now, I want to look at the interest rates on these because I'm paying interest. I'm using somebody else's money to buy a car, right? This one, the interest rate is 3.25%, which means I'm paying that amount extra in interest in addition to the original value that I took out for the car loan. For the bank loan option, option 2, my interest rate is 4.25%. So which one do you want to select? You can do the math. I'm not sure, honestly, exactly which one is better. I just selected option 1 for now. Move along with life, and the auto loan is now green. Now, I realize all my tabs are green, but I'm kind of going one at a time. Auto insurance. You could get in a wreck in this simulation. And if you do, you have to consider what kind of auto insurance you have. Now, understand that there's these things called premiums and deductibles. A premium is the amount you pay, in this case, semi-annually. Okay, what in the heck does semi-annually mean? Semi-annual, or in this case, twice every year, semi-annual, every 6 months. And because our simulation is only 10 weeks long, how many times are you going to get billed for auto insurance? Once. Again, you have these things called premiums, or the payment you make, and we're going to talk a lot about this in our auto insurance unit. Payment you make for auto insurance is your premium, and your deductible is the amount that you pay before insurance kicks in. That's the part that's self-insured or that you have to pay for. Option 1, the premium is higher, but my deductible is $350. So if you think you're going to get in a wreck and you pay the higher premium, you're only going to have to pay $350 to get your car fixed. Okay? That's the amount you pay before insurance kicks in. Option 2, if you pay the lower premium, you're going to have a higher deductible. Premiums and deductibles work in opposite directions. The higher the deductible, the more risk I'm taking on, the more amount I have to pay up front before insurance kicks in, the lower will be my premium, and vice versa. So choose your option 1 or 2, if you think you're going to get in a car wreck. Cable. Now it says up here that I use my computer. Man, this has been the deal lately with COVID is employees are working at home. Like my daughter's been working at home since March in Boston. So if you're depending on your internet, you want to get a high-speed internet. If you want to just go with the vanilla package, get your basic cable plus internet, option 1. Of course, you don't know what this game is going to throw at you in terms of surprise, surprise. Oh, you're going to need to get the other internet. And if you don't have it, you're in trouble. So choose wisely. Okay? Choose wisely. That's cable. Cell phone. With option 1, you pay $50 on your first payment plus $75 for your phone. Okay? If you ever want to get another phone, there's a warranty processing charge of $40, but they cover the cost of replacing it. Otherwise, it's going to be $150. They have some really cheap phones in here, don't they? And I just spent like $750 on a new phone. Did that hurt? So do you think you're going to damage your phone? If so, you might want to go with option 1. If not, option 2, they're going to give you a free phone. It's much cheaper, but if you have a problem with your phone, then you need to pay. You're going to end up paying more. So you have to kind of decide. You could pay $150 if things are bad enough. Credit card. Now you're going to get charges of $500 to $750 per month on your credit card. Per month. And you don't have any control over this. The person just spends the money and you keep seeing it racked up and away we go. Keeps getting more. But let's take a look at these 2 options. Option 1. Now they have a late payment fee of $20, $19.95, but their interest rate is 21%. That's a pretty high percentage rate for a credit card. Option 2, they charge you a late fee of $39.95. They really sock it to you. However, their interest rate is a little more palatable, 14%. Again, choose your option. Which one do you want? Option 1 or 2. Once you fill out that and select your option, the credit card turns green. Utilities, you can do standard meter-based billing. This means that every month they actually come and read your meter and you're charged on a per kilowatt hour basis, $93. The budget billing means that no matter what your kilowatts read, you're going to get charged $95 a month guaranteed. So 93 could be 89, it could be 98, it could be some variation. You have no idea until you get the bill from your meter and they send it to you. Option 2, you know it's going to be $95. How much do you want to play the game here? Renter's insurance. Your landlord cannot insure your stuff. You legally have to buy renter's insurance to cover your own stuff. We have 2 options, cash value and replacement cost. What in the heck is the difference? Cash value means that if you bought a computer 4 years ago, it was $1,000 and now it's $200, they're going to pay you $200 for your computer at its what's called your depreciated or the reduced value of that particular asset. Replacement cost means that whatever it takes to get that same computer back in your hands, if it's $1,000, if it's $800, whatever it costs to get a new computer to replace it, that's what you get. All right? So big difference between cash value, what it's worth in reduced value, and replacement, putting the same thing back in your hand, is 2 different things. And of course, the replacement cost, which costs the insurance company more to pay for, will be a higher premium. Again, premium meaning the amount you pay for insurance, in this case, annually. I only pay this once a year. So if we have a 10-week simulation, how many times are you going to pay that? Only once. Yes. Okay. Moving on. Student loan. You have a $25,000 student loan you have to pay on every month. You're paying $265.78 a month. And make note of this, by the way, because this thing looks kind of confusing because they'll send you a bill and it looks like you're just paying the principal amount or the amount you're actually paying the debt down. Principal means your primary amount owed, which is $25,000. Notice it's $265.78. When we get into the cash flow spreadsheet, that's going to be an important thing to note. But here, all you have to do is just select it, Riptide Student Loan, and there's only one option. And after you select all those options, all of your tabs should be green, and I should then get a notice from Budget Challenge that you are now ready to start the simulation, which will start on the Thursday night. Actually, it's really like Friday. I guess it technically is the night of that 11:55 p.m. If you want to wait up that night and see what your bills are and stuff, you can. But just know the next morning, Friday morning, you're going to start seeing some stuff coming into Budget Challenge. All right. If you have other questions about vendor selection, please reach out to me. Thank you.